G'day viewers, it's Jeff McPhee's Gardening, Melbourne, Australia. The challenges of running a lawn care business, from struggles to success. Most business will go through that transition period between struggling and succession. Now when we're starting out on our business venture, it's quite normal to be struggling. So if you're just starting out and things are not working out and you're struggling, that's okay. It's a normal process that we all go through when we first start. Many years ago when I first started, over 4 decades ago nearly, I had a period of time when I struggled at the start. You see, we were a single income family. We made a decision back then that my wife would stay home and raise the children. And then investments really paid off well because we're a pretty tight-knit family now. So because we only had the single income, we had a mortgage, we had car loans, and we put food on the table, it was a real struggle at times because we were starting out. No support, we're starting from scratch. We started in the winter time. So it was an effort to actually make some money to provide for the family. But eventually we got there. And but the trouble is, when you're in that situation, you're running scared. And because you're struggling, you tend to charge cheap prices. And when you charge cheap prices, you get lots of work. And at the end of the day, you've done all this work and there's not much money. And it wasn't until I got a major establishment, it was a school actually. It was I think about year 1 or year 2 of my business. And what happened, I quoted it and it was just too big for me. And I really put in a stupid price because I really didn't want it. Well, I wanted it, but I didn't think I was capable. The confidence factor. See, when you're struggling, you do lack that confidence. Anyway, I got the job and I was getting paid very well for the work that I was putting out. And I thought to myself, why aren't I applying it right throughout my other customers? I did, and we moved on and we did okay. So when you're starting out and you're struggling, there's several things that you really need when you're starting a business. You need cash and you need cash flow. Well, most people, that doesn't apply. I mean, unless you're going into the business with a bit of cash behind you to buy your equipment, most people tend to borrow money to purchase equipment that will service their business. To me, that's a good debt because you're going to buy the best machines available, you can have them now, and you can take on the work. So that's a great thing. And then you've got to create that cash flow to service the debts, of course, and also to put food on the table. There's 2 key elements when you're struggling that you really need. We all have it. It's called persistence and resilience. Now, we have that. It's in our DNA. No one can teach us it. No one can tell us how to do it. We have to draw it out in ourselves. We've got to be resilient. We're going to get kicked down and get up off the floor. We're going to get kicked down again. So we've got to be persistent and keep trying and keep getting that business up to scratch, clawing our way through the maze of the forest. And the resilience and the persistence, it's a real asset to have if you've got it. You've all got it, you just got to get stuck into it. And trust me, when you find you're becoming resilient and when you find that you're persistent, that struggling is made easier. Now, of course, the other factors that affect us in struggling, and we could even struggle even during our career. I got to the part away from struggling, we're going really well. Then we got a 10-year drought, so it was back to strugglesville again. But because I'd learned about that persistence and resilience, I fought my way through it. I looked at other options, I diversified, and I've mentioned that in previous videos. So it can happen to you over a period of time that you might get to that struggling from time to time. But it's how resilient you are is how successful you're going to be. There's lots of things that affect us, of course. I mentioned before climatic conditions, the economic conditions when people haven't got as much money available to us, so business might be a bit slow. Now, a lot of guys when they start off, and I did the same thing, yes, there was even franchises back in my day, that's when they first started off, but lots of guys look at franchises, they provide a guaranteed income, they provide the work, they provide the support. But of course, because it's a franchise, there's rules. Now, if you if you don't mind working with those rules, because they got a brand to protect, of course, well, you could do quite well. But there's some of us that don't like being told. We want to have our own business, be our own entrepreneur, and it's harder. They say 90% of businesses fail. I'm not real sure about that, because I believe with the support of the YouTube, the Facebook groups, and many veteran gardeners, landscapers, businesses that actually are willing to pass the knowledge on to any new people that are starting out. You see it so much about people offering advice, and that's why I reckon that 90% might not be quite right now. Sure, back in our day when we didn't have the internet and we didn't have that support, because everybody had everything close to their chest, maybe that was right back then. But now I think it's getting better. So going into business and struggling, I think you're going to have a good chance if you're prepared to listen and prepared to research. And of course, success. Now, we measure success in many different ways. Now, in my case, my success we've been a sole income to our family. We've raised over nearly 4 decades. We're not millionaires. We live comfortably, and we're going to do all right. That's my success. But the biggest part of that success, that I can participate in my family at any time I wish. When my children are growing up, I had the ability to go and watch their sports events, participate with them in their sports events, or just in general life. So it's a balance, and my success has been the balance of life between my family and my business. And I think, to me, that's my success. Other people measure it in financial terms. Some people gauge it in how much material they've got, the big ute or the big house. It doesn't interest me. It's the balance of life that's what interests me. So if you're starting out and you're worrying about that struggle bit, don't. Because I'll tell you what, when I was struggling and I had services to meet, like mortgage repayments and providing food, I was really hungry for work, and I took on anything, and I really was prepared to put my head down. Nowadays, of course, at the end of my career, I'll get up in the morning and say, I can't be bothered going to work today, because it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if I don't make any money that day. But when I was starting out, it was important. So, something to think about. All right, viewers, bit of a heavy one today, but I've had someone ask me about the struggling, what do you do? And it's easy to get caught up with other people and see that they're doing better than you. Just stay in your own lane, forget about what they're doing, and concentrate on your direction. What people say and what they've got are two different things a lot of the time. I see a lot of guys that are bragging of what they've got and what they, how big their company is. Some of them have. Some have been very successful and fantastic. I don't listen to them. I just want to about my own business, and I suggest that when you're starting out, do likewise. Sure, learn off other people, ask questions, look around, but stay on your own lane. Right, viewers, we'll see you on the next video. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'd love to hear your comments on this subject. Really interesting. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.